Welcome. In this video I will present the rasterized tools in Cloud Compare to create DEM, Digital Elevation Model. So the basis of the operation is very simple and very common. You have a set of irregular point cloud and you are going to apply a regular grid on top of it, and in each cell of this grid you will define an average position, a minimum position, or the highest position to define a new set of points with regular X and Y coordinates. Or for Cloud Compare, a raster is a point cloud with regularly spaced coordinates. It's nothing else. So you can perform a strict rasterization. If we look in cross-section at this point cloud, you can either select the minimum elevation and you take the minimum elevation of all the points and you apply it to the center of the cell. The same for the average elevation or the maximum elevation. You see here the maximum elevation point is this one, but the point will be created here. You have also the choice of using a resampling option only for min and max elevation. Here you select the point of the point cloud with the lowest or highest elevation without creating new points. Consequently, the output is not a raster. It's an interesting function to select locally the highest or lowest point in a point cloud. So back with MatPace data, I'm just first going to select the ground point from the classification in order to construct a DM from the ground point. To do that, I'm going to classification, I'm selecting only the ground point, like this, and I'm exporting the data. So here are the ground points with the Z coordinate. You see that under the vegetation they are quite sparse. Now I'm going to the rasterize tool here. So the first parameter to set is the step size. We are going to generate a 1 meter DEM. You can edit the grid position depending on where you want it to start. For instance, it could be a good idea to have a rounded number for the X and Y coordinate. And in terms of projection, we're going to use a vertical projection. And the cell 8, because we have classified ground points, we're going to use the average value of the point within a cell. For the scalar field, we're going to do the same, average value. And for the moment, we're going to leave empty in the case where there is no cells. You press Update Grid, and you'll get a view which is a 3D view on which you can navigate. And you can see that without interpolation, in the area where we have a lot of points, a 1 meter DEM doesn't need any kind of interpolation here, but under the vegetation, due to the sparse point cloud here, there is a real need for interpolation. Okay, so we can do that. To do that, we use interpolate here, and these two parameters, I'm going to launch the calculation because it's easier to explain them with a result here. Okay, so you see we have a lot of blue here outside because the grid extends along the X and Y coordinates, and in this area the rasterize function has used the value of 0 for the elevation, and the max edge length is for the linear interpolation of the data. Actually, what Cloud Compare does is simply a triangular network here to interpolate in area when there is no data. For instance, it has interpolated here in area where the lines were not completely linear. So now we have points everywhere. You can see that there are actually regular points. It's a real raster. So at this stage, if you are happy with the result, you have various options. The first one is that you can create a cloud which will be directly copied here. You can also generate the mesh. In this cloud, you can have information on all the pixels, such as the population, number of points that were used to compute the cell elevation. Interesting to know where there was interpolation, for instance, because this value will be 0. The standard deviation of elevation, etc., etc. These are all classical. What's important is that if you want to use this data, your DEM or your raster, in a GIS software, this is where you can do it in Cloud Compare. You can press the raster button, select a various option regarding the export of the data, and if you press OK, you will generate a GeoTIFF. And a GeoTIFF is typically a raster file that is easy to open in any GIS software. A nice function is that you can directly generate a hillshade on the data, and it's very interesting because you can inspect directly the quality of your interpolation on the data itself. You can see here the clear, very long interpolation, triangular interpolation between the on the side of the point cloud. The interpolation is simply linear, so it's the simplest of all possible interpolation. What's interesting, you can go back here, and if you regenerate the point cloud, if I'm not mistaken, you should have the hillshade as a scalar field, which is very interesting. You can also generate contour plot, and there is a final option that tells you the volume corresponding of material above 0. Okay, and it also tells you that there were 51%, only 50% roughly of cells where there were data. So generating a 1 meter DEM in this context could be a bit tricky. That's it. So following up, you see here the point cloud with the hillshade information, which is quite interesting. One last application I'd like to show you is the usage, it's here. Let's suppose that we have a point cloud without a ground classification, and we want to try to find the lowest points. Then we go in rasterize. We take, for instance, a rather large value of the step, 5, and here we take the minimum elevation, and we check an important function here, the resample input cloud. We don't need to interpolate. Here, this is going to just extract point from the original point cloud. It's not going to create new points, and the result is not a raster in itself. Okay, and if I create the hillshade, which can be done even if it's not a raster, I get a view here of the results, and I can generate a new point cloud here with the raster, which is a lowest point point cloud, useful to have seeds to start classification of the ground, for instance. In this video, I will present some simple thin meshing function in Cloud Compare, how to compute normals, and how to perform a Poisson reconstruction meshing, which is an advanced meshing but very beautiful function for meshing. Just to remember, the normal vector is a vector which is perpendicular to the local tangent of the surface. You can compute it for a surface, but also for a point, and this is what I'm going to show in this video. Back to our task data, I have isolated the ground point, and as you've seen and in the previous video on rasterization, we really have a lot of sparse points. We don't have a lot of points, sorry, below the vegetation. So if we want to have a better view and filling the gaps between these points, meshing is a solution. To do that, Cloud Compare has a simple module which is a Delaunay triangulation like this. You can just press this function. Here it gives a maximum length of triangle side. Here it's 50 meters. If you press 0, it will interpolate, it will create triangle over long distances. I suggest to use a limit which is consistent with your data. Here 50 meters is enough. This is a relatively quick and simple triangulation. And here is the result. You have a new item in the database tree with this shape. This is a mesh. As you see, with the mesh, you have a new also item which is normal that you can activate or deactivate to have a certain visibility. If I remove the real-time shadow effect, you see that when you compute normals, you can actually use the normal to create a shading. Normals are oriented, which means that here they're oriented towards the sky. If I return back the topography, it's black in under. Okay. Another interesting thing if you really want to capture what is a mesh, if I zoom in like this, I will see that the mesh is actually a set. You can press wireframe, is simply a set of triangles here. And you see when you have a lot of points, the triangles are very small and you don't see this triangulation, but here you have a significant interpolation through triangulation between the point here. One thing to note is that when you use this function, by default, the point that has been used to create the triangulation is no more visible. It has been automatically deactivated. You need to click visible. Now, if I remove the visibility of the mesh and back to the point cloud, you see the function has computed normals also for the point cloud. Here, if I remove them, we don't see the texture. But here we see the texture and relief. Okay, so once we have normals available on point cloud, it's interesting because we can use the menu normals convert to create a conversion to deep direction. This creates two new scalar fields here. Deep direction, which is the azimuth, it's a range between 0 and 360 degrees, the horizontal azimuth, and the deep degree, which is a topographic slope here in degrees. If I use, for instance, this color, we can clearly see here the low slope area, the steep part, and some other sharp feature, for instance, like a riverbank here. Now, if I inspect the triangulation, it can create really this kind of features where triangles are very visible and basically not really nice in a topography. There is another area here where you can clearly see the triangle because the density of point was really low. So it's not a beautiful triangulation. So there is another way in CLAD Compare to do a triangulation through the Poisson reconstruction. And one way to do a better reconstruction is to have normals which are slightly less fluctuating. Here, because the normals are computed on the nearest neighbor, which are really close, they can fluctuate in orientation very quickly. So we can compute normals using edit normals compute here. In this menu, we are going to approximate the local surface by a plane. We could use also a quadric or triangulation. Triangulation is what was done just before, and you don't have to choose a specific scale. But with a plane, then after we are going to identify a certain radius around which, within which we're going to look for neighbors. Here we're going to use a radius of about, let's say, 7 meters. And it will take all neighbors within 7 meters, fit a plane, and compute the normal to this plane. And you need to orient the plane, and because we are looking at airborne LiDAR data, all the points are looking can be oriented toward the sky with plus Z. It can be different if you're looking at using terrestrial LiDAR data, where the orientation might be more complex and may be used from should be done, for instance, from a minimum spanning tree here. But here it's relatively simple. We do that. It's a relatively quick operation. And in this cloud where there was no normals, we are going to have normals generated. And you can see here normals have been generated. You can see that somehow the shading effect is a bit smoother, because the normal are smoother than with this previous cloud here. The difference is quite significant. If we convert the normals to deep and deep direction here, and we look, for instance, at the deep degrees, here are the distribution of slopes. If we use this color like this and we look at the histogram, it's interesting. We see a few specific peaks. If we look at this peak, for instance, at 36 degrees, if we look for 36 degrees here, we narrow the visibility of this. We can see that actually these 36 degrees are rockfall deposits here, and with a quite systematic slope. Okay, this is just inspection of the slope. Now what we're interested in is to generate a better mesh, and for this we're going to use this function, the Poisson surface reconstruction, which is a plugin in CloudCompare, which implement a meshing method from Kazan et al., which is very elegant. So here you have to choose the resolution. We're going to interpolate at let's say 1 meter, for instance. It's very important to click this option because we will need it afterwards. And in the advanced function here, you will need to play to see what the impact of this factor. I generally tend to use a free boundary. Here I impose a relatively high weight on points because they are good points and I want the surface to go through the points. And 5 is one of the parameters recommended, and I use linear fit. Then you can launch the interpolation. Okay, the operation is finished, and you end up with this strange mesh with a very large extrapolation. So we want to remove this element. You can note the very smooth variation of the Poisson interpolation. This is because there is some kind of, to simplify, elasticity in the interpolation and extrapolation of this meshing algorithm. So to remove the extra bit, there is a scalar field associated to the mesh called density, and you simply progressively increase this, but to the point that you feel actually the gap in your data. You see here there was a gap that I filled by stopping at this level. Once you're happy, you export the mesh